everyone, Darren Hunter here, and I'm with Dennis Youssef and Michael Sands. We are Inspired Growth Training, and today with the Secret Shopper Files podcast show, we have not jumped on a plane because we're still in COVID conditions, but we are talking about amazing, beautiful, sunny Phoenix. Now, isn't Phoenix an amazing place? It's actually got a population of 1.6 million. It's this amazing little oasis city in the middle of the desert. And before we get started, one of my memories of Phoenix, I've actually been there 4 times now. The first time I was there, firstly, I was doing some property management training work in New Mexico, in the north of the state. So to actually get on a plane, I had to drive over the Colorado border. It was snowing. It was like freezing. And I hopped on this plane, and within an hour, I'm not only landing in Phoenix on my way through to LAX airport, but it was like 34 degrees, or for the Americans, in the high 90s. I'm pulling off my warm clothes and enjoying such a beautiful place. But guys, we've done 2 events in Phoenix. We did a 2-day masterclass, a 1-day door growth class as well. Haven't we got some fond memories?
I love Phoenix. I think the people are absolutely amazing, blessed hearts, lovely. We've had great experience meeting so many amazing people. The nightlife there has been, a true one to sample.
Yep.
We bought some cowboy boots. There, we really got into it.
And belts. We got a couple of belts as well, which was really cool.
And the belts. And it was actually a real privilege and a pleasure to have this assignment of doing the SMR report in Phoenix. We have such a strong affiliation and bond with that place. Camelback Mountain we were talking about earlier. Such an amazing, beautiful place, and the people there are lovely. So we were
great people. But before we get into it, of course, we've had a client who actually came to one of our classes, and he wanted us to do an SMR report, which is a strategic market report. Now, if you would like us to secret shop your competitors, we can call up to 10 and do a detailed report. Just go to secretshopperfiles.com. That's secretshopperfiles.com. Now, Michael and Dennis, with this particular secret shopper assignment that we did, we've done a number now. I mean, we've done podcasts on Adelaide, Auckland, we've done Sydney, we've done Orlando, we've done Wellington, and each one of these cities have a different flavor or a different issue we come across. One in particular in Wellington, we really struggled to get anyone of any real interest on the phone. All they wanted to do across the 10 was just want to push us off to some website, and we're even fortunate to even get them to answer the phone. But let's just say, can we celebrate, Michael? They did pick up the phone in Phoenix, but what did you find? What happened?
As you know, some places around the world, they don't like to pick up the phone. In Phoenix, they picked up the phone. So round of applause there. That was great. What we didn't really appreciate was a lot of people that picked up the phone were either not part of the company, so they weren't representing them.
Yeah.
They weren't in the same country, which isn't so much a bad thing. But to kind of call places and then constantly be told, I'll have that person call you back. We'll have that person call you back later when they're in the office. I don't work in the office. Where does the remote messaging system? We'll send the message on. It doesn't cut it.
So were these virtual assistants?
I don't really think they were so much as virtual assistants. They were messaging companies that were taking the phone calls, even like relying on Google. The Google voicemail system also. And I'm all fine with automating. People are ringing, they're getting the voicemail, they're leaving a message. But if you're a prospective landlord, which we were, trying to find someone to do business with, answer the phone and speak to us.
Michael, I'm about to drop a bit of a bomb here. I said, are these virtual assistants? I just realized, remember, virtual assistants
not allowed to
illegal in Arizona. This was actually staff people, qualified, no doubt licensed staff people that you spoke to.
Yeah, and they could have been in another state, right, as well, just without knowing, or a different part of the state. So,
Messaging service, like there's a lot of people that have messaging services. That's fine. They're not doing work or acting as an estate agent. They're just taking details. So, okay, let's put that aside. So you ring an office and the person isn't available, but you happen to know that person is actually in the office and isn't doing much work, okay? But so there's a roadblock there. Yeah. Then you wait an hour or two for the person to call you back. Now, if you're an owner and you're calling 3, 4, 5 different agencies to try and get some high value now, they're not going to wait. I mean, they might say, yes, my phone number is ABC or 123. They're walking. They're going to the next one. So that was really, really, really interesting. And I guess one of the things we would get back to you is make sure the person answering the phone can answer basic questions. They take your details, they find out the property it's about, and they can give you some high value that you can take away. At least you're getting something. And then when you're calling other agencies for a comparison, you've got something with you.
Yeah. Even small things like having on hold music, and please don't say, try and give him a call back in a couple of hours. Train that person to ask those basic questions: name, phone number, email, property details. Just get the basics at least, so you've got something for somebody to make a call, because you don't want to rely on that person, because if they're not feeling the love from that first initial person they're dealing with, I guarantee they're not going to call you back. Unless the other people they're calling are absolutely horrible and you did set that standard.
And people are always asking us, Michael, Dennis, Darren, can you give us what our points of difference should be? And we're not here to tell you what your points of differences are, but I tell you what a massive point of difference is: answering your phone and making sure the person who picks up can answer some of those questions. So there's a free point of difference for you. When you go and meet your prospective clients, you can say, when a tenant calls our company, we will be able to answer and help resolve their inquiry, just like when you call it. There's a freebie. Okay, there's a point of difference for them. Now, I guess if we're going to be moving on to some points of difference, Darren, do you want us to lay into there?
Well, let's just hear what we're, again, a point of difference is something that you're saying to an owner, hey, we're different. You should use us. We're different from our competitors down the road. Here's why. So when our secret shopper asked that question, Michael, what happened?
I'm really starting to enjoy hearing the thousands of points of difference across the globe at the moment, because everyone's really proud of their points of difference, their unique selling proposition, if you want. And again, we hear such repetitious behavior across the board. And the more points of difference that we hear, the more I also cringe, because I think surely you could have actually found out what your competitors are saying. So when a new prospect calls, they're not hearing the same thing. Family operated. We were a family operated business. I had my parents involved in my real estate business, and that was great. I guess in my marketplace, there weren't many family run businesses. So that was a point of difference. But if you're in a marketplace where a lot of property management companies are actually family run, it's not a point of difference. The owners are calling many different agencies and getting, we're a family run business. It's cute. It is.
It is quite common.
But it's not an effective differentiation to encourage or impress the owner to want to sign with you and not your competitors. It really just, it's not effective.
I mean, how you kind of get around that would be, we are a family-run business, and unlike other family-run businesses in the area, we have certain qualifications. For example, my mother, my father, my wife, whatever it is, and you can detail and break down the qualification so the person actually knows how unique they are to the business. And when you say things like, and unlike other family-run businesses in the area, you start to put a wedge between you and you're qualifying that point of difference. But everyone leaves that unqualified. We're a family-run business. The other thing that I see a lot of trends around Arizona in general is a lot of people moving to the pod style system. And they say, we have a team of people that handle all the different elements of running your property. And you will expect to get a phone call from any one of them, depending on who is touching which part. So can you imagine that you're a prospective owner and you're wanting to call a professional outfit to maintain and manage your investment property so you don't have to? And bear in mind, a lot of people manage their own property in America. You want to give property to someone else. Why would you want to have 10 different people calling you throughout the year about things happening with your property? How are you going to form a relationship?
And that's the truth. I remember an agency here in South Australia that quite a large prominent agency that had for a time a pod structure. And so there was 4 different people in communication with the owner. What can I say? All Indians and no chiefs. No one's taking responsibility. And in the end, they lost a lot of owners because the owner just didn't know who to talk to, didn't have one key relationship with one person who actually took responsibility. Now, we like the pod systems out there, but people remember owners want to deal with one key person, not a tribe of Indians. They want to deal with one chief.
Oh, look, pod systems can work remarkably if they're implemented correctly. We were pod as well. We were task based with the BDM and a leasing agent, and then we had the pod system throughout. And hey, we obviously were prepared for growth, and we had to do that, and it worked really well. And I've seen some good pod systems out there. They do work well. However, as we know, property management on its own, you already have the issues of that high staff turnover. So which brings us to another point of difference, Michael, that seems to be very recurring. Doesn't matter what suburb, what state, or what country we're dealing with, they all say they've got 50 years of experience, Michael. I mean,
So was that the case in Phoenix? What other points of difference did you come across, Michael?
I guess as technology enhances and becomes better and better, and the CRMs are lifting their game, and I do think the American CRMs are lacking a lot compared to other CRMs around the world. But now we're telling everyone that we have 24/7 access for our tenancy portals. Okay. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that was a point of difference because people hadn't upgraded their system. But a majority of people in your marketplace are using the same software that you are. So everybody has access to this portal. The tenants have access, the owners have access. So again, you need to put that wedge in between and put that qualification of why that is a point of difference to have a 24/7 portal available to the tenant. Because it's at the moment, it's a broad sweeping statement that there's access on a tenancy portal. The other thing too, everyone used to rely on, we used to get our professional photos done. We used to do this, like virtual tours. A lot of people are starting to do virtual tours now. That's probably more of a clearer point of difference. But everyone is getting photos taken. Explain to us why your photos are any different to any other agency. Yes, you're going to charge for it. No, you're not going to charge for it. It doesn't matter. But if you're saying this is a point of difference, why are your photos better than it's someone 2 doors up the road or 2 kilometers? I guess in Phoenix though, Darren, the blocks are like 2 miles long. So your competitor might be on the next block 2 or 3 miles up the road. You need to be able to have that wedge there and actually describe why your photos are better than someone else's. These are points of difference. You can go and get a Burger King burger, a McDonald's burger, a Five Guys burger, an In-N-Out burger. What makes, they're all beef burgers. What makes them different from each other? What defines them?
In-N-Out burger has loaded fries.
I love loaded fries. Yeah.
I think that joke of what we've got came from Phoenix.
We actually know a realtor that used to own and manage several In-N-Out burgers as well. I mean, a big shout out to Heather. She's a good friend of ours. I was messaging her today. So In-N-Out burgers.
What an awesome host Heather was for us in Phoenix. But just continuing on. Okay, so in a nutshell, in a summary so far, we had people picking up the phone. That's awesome. We had people following us up, all of that. We didn't have any real issues there. What we did have is people not taking responsibility. I'm sorry. So sad. Too bad. I'm not the person to deal with. I'll get such and such to call you. So there really wasn't any real taking responsibility for the inquiry when it came through, which stalled things. Also, some ineffective points of difference. And I think, Michael, driving in that wedge, why is that point of difference? You know, being a family-owned business, why is that a real benefit to the person? I think you also made a good comment on the portal. Yes, everyone's got the same sort of portal, but there's a person that promotes it effectively is the one that has the perception of only having the portal. Now, what was a company, really good experience? I think you said you had one outstanding experience out of the 10 that were called. What happened there and why was it good? What were some points around that?
Yeah, I guess to put a nice flavour, some tone on there, this was at a time when the reception answered the phone, was able to take out details, pass it on to the BDM. The BDM called us back within about an hour, which is totally fine. And that BDM was able to answer every single question that we had with confidence, was diligent, and gave us advice about investing, and you know, covered off all the local points too, what we should be looking for, and what was important to us in finding a property management company. They were
Michael. They also emailed the information back straight away too, within a good period of time.
Yeah, they did. They were really open about it. There was no, they weren't trying to hide. I'm not saying anyone's trying to hide anything, but they were really, really helpful. They let us know. They knew their numbers. They knew average days on market. They knew how many leases they had last month. They knew how many people walked through all their doors in the last 30 days. They knew how many property managers there were to the team, how many doors each property manager managed. They were statistical, analytical. They knew the area well, and they had an answer for everything that more than satisfied our questions.
Mm-hmm. No, that's really good. All right, well let's just let's go to the next section of the SMR report, the Secret Shopper report, and let's talk about fees. And you've given me the fee matrix, a fee spreadsheet showing all of the fees that were quoted by everybody. We've got everyone's details, which is great. And just starting with the management fees. Now, I'm not going to be going into the details of this report. Of course, our client has paid for this, and they've got all of the numbers and all of the figures that everybody quoted. But already I can see there the management fee was interesting, being the main fee that most owners focus on and get concerned about. It looks like around about a 50% of the agents there of that, what we call, do a fixed rate per month.
Yeah, flat fee.
The rest are doing a traditional percentage.
Yeah, there's definitely that mix, that divide there. And I guess my recommendation, no, I can't give you a recommendation. I guess if you want a recommendation, you've got to ask us about getting a report done.
I also saw, you know, these people quoting a fixed amount per month. There's like a massive swing, of around about 30% difference in the numbers. Now, I posted a meme into the Inspired Growth Training Facebook page yesterday of some guys building a wall. The bricks were all wonky and all over the place. It's quite a picture to behold. And it was, you know, the title was, well, if they're cheap for a reason. Otherwise, they would be charging more. And I know also from the conversations I've had with Phoenix agents, they go a lot about, we hear a lot more noise around the discounting frenzy that goes on in Phoenix, a little bit more, and I've heard more noise than all the noise I get out of other cities and every other marketplace on the planet, but particularly Phoenix. And it does seem to be people saying, and coming in really, really cheap, but no doubt they are cheap for a reason. They would know likely what other agents are charging, and despite knowing that, they're still coming in cheap because they're only pricing themselves at the level that they think they're worth. Moving on, let's talk about leasing fees. I saw a massive swing of people coming in, at half a month's rent right up to 1 month's rent leasing fee, which is a massive swing, again, coming down to people's perception of themselves. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, totally. And I think you're right. At one point in time, people got together and they spoke, or they thought their pricing. They said, this is what's reasonable for real estate property management in the area, without saying that they're colluding or anything. It's amazing to kind of see. I find there's no real structure to the pricing there.
Can I just come in and actually have a look? A third of agents don't actually have a leasing fee. I've just realized that. The rest then have a half, and then the rest have this full. So there's this massive swing again, but it's really the other fees that got me, because talking about to American real estate agents that you should be charging and on charging your marketing fee, they look at me like a deer in headlights, like, what? You can't do that. What's the management fee for? What's the leasing fee for? Yet we've come across two agencies that are actually 3 agencies that are charging quite a reasonable marketing fee for what we see in the States. I'm saying, well done. They're obviously charging it. They believe they're worth it. No doubt they are justifying it, so they get it. And there's other fees as well, like we got one agency charging a lease preparation fee. There's another one, 3 agencies charging for repairs and maintenance. There's one agency charging an account setup fee. There's one agent charging for a routine inspection. And guess what? Those agencies that are charging for those additional fees, they're getting it. And the agents that aren't charging it because they don't believe they should be are not. And I think it leads me to a story I had with an agency that called us up some years ago in New Mexico. And there was like 5 agencies in town, and they're all charging the same management fee. No one was charging a leasing fee. No one was charging a lease renewal fee. No one was charging a marketing or routine inspection fee. There was nothing. And this agency said, Darren, we're charging the same as everyone else in town, but we're so much better. And so I said, all right, well, let's work on this strategy. Keep your management fee the same, but we added in a leasing fee, a lease renewal fee, an inspection fee, and another fee, plus also improve their tenant fees, because you can charge tenant fees in the United States. And they blasted it. They went from $125 per property per month, or per door per month, to 3 years later, they were measuring $266. Per door, per property, per month. That's more than 100% increase. And this was around the ancillary fee. So I just want to encourage everybody, particularly in Phoenix, particularly in the United States, do not ignore your add-on fees. That's where the power is, particularly when owners focus on the management fee, if not the leasing fee. It's the other stuff that flies under the radar. So guys, if you're interested in, what was that?
That is just bananas.
It is. It is crazy. I'm going to hand the reins back over to you because I've been monologuing too long. But guys, if you're interested in better fees, just go to darren@igtmail.com or just send us a message at secretshopperfiles.com. But Michael, that was my findings on the fees. It's just they're leaving so much money on the table, but don't we come across that often?
Yeah, but I think also largely a lot of the agencies were born from solving a problem that they found in the marketplace, that they wanted to be able to give better service to their clients. And I think the fees were largely additions to what they started with their mind. And so they started with their leasing, so their percentage or the fixed fee, because they thought that's what they should be charging. And then they did all these other things that were free. And I don't think a lot of the people there have revisited what their fees are and what the market would actually pay for services like that. And like you say, Darren, the big butt gets in the way, but there is room to move in the market to lift your game and charge the fee. We know that there are owners out there that will pay you what you are worth.
Right. Yeah, if you can certainly show people that, you know, your property should be managed by putting in some basic systems, etc., in place, you know, you'll be able to be charging those correct fees. I mean, let's be honest. It doesn't matter what country it was. Property management grew from the tail end of sales, right? A person would sell a property, the owner would manage it, find a tenant themselves, etc. However, the property management grew within a real estate office when those investors said, I don't have time to do it, I need you to do it, and it grew. So Darren, can I just say, mate, hold my beer for a second. You were on fire. You were doing a great job and you're passionate, but I'd now like to talk about the social media aspect of the stuff that we saw.
Just before we go, guys, I just want to say
let me have my beer back.
Yeah, that's good. just I wanted to say one more thing. There's about $500, maybe even $1,000 per door per year that these agencies could work in with some extra add-on fees. So if you're listening to this and go, okay, if you've got 500 doors, or 400 doors. Of course, the Americans like to use the word doors. Australia, New Zealand, we use the word properties. But in doors here, if we had 500 properties or doors times by 500, that's an extra $250,000 pure profit. So these are the sort of numbers, and $500, guys, is very, very tame. So, all right, Dennis, over to you. Let's talk about the digital strength. What did you find around social media, and what did you guys find out?
Yeah, I was quite surprised at I want to talk about Google. I'll just talk about Google first before we get into the other social aspect of it. I mean, technology, Michael was talking about it earlier with CRMs. When a person's going to walk, if they're not feeling like they're getting that information from whoever's on the phone, they're going to Google, right? And the Google presence, it tended to lack. Now, a lot of the people, they look at the reviews. It's great seeing the reviews when the replies are being answered. The business owners are actually replying a Google review. I like it. However, they're not replying the complaints, and that is a common theme that we found in this report. Nobody is replying the complaints. A potential landlord isn't looking at the positive reviews. They're looking at the negative, so they've got an idea of what potentially they're going to be facing. And if these business owners aren't actually replying the reviews, it could be a tenant that's going, oh my goodness, they didn't give me my security deposit back. If an owner just said, well, look, we were, thank you for the review. However, we are in the interest of the owners, and you were given the property in a particular condition, and in times where it's not handed back to our agency in the same condition, we do sometimes have to get a truck in to remove the rubbish from the backyard, get a painter in, get a cleaner in, and etc. A potential owner reading that is going to love it. They're going to think, wow, this agency has got my back. When they're not replying, it shows guilt. It just shows guilt. Okay.
Yeah,
are they acting on our best interests?
It's all unanswered, and it leaves the wandering mind exactly that, wandering to kind of say, well, this must be the worst case outcome if they're not going to defend themselves or at least come back at it. And in America too, you have such a wide brush stroke that you can reply to your reviews, unlike other parts of the world where there are stronger privacy laws. You can actually be brutal. We're not telling you to be brutal. We're just saying reply and write it as though someone else is reading it. I mean, we can touch on the other thing too that lacks is Instagram and Facebook, and I guess that whole combo there too. So you're dealing with people that are in multiple different demographic ranges. Okay, so from when they buy their first property, we know people in the States, sons have been buying properties since they were 16 years old. You need to be tapping into these demographics, because your service needs to be applicable to everyone out there that has a heartbeat, that owns, wants to own, knows someone that owns a property. So be visible on those platforms. And I guess, again, we see it consistently on this report too. A very small portion of people were actively across all the platforms. So make sure you do your research, you find out what Instagram is about, the stories on there, more eyeballs are on the stories. And I mean, you guys are blessed. You have got such a beautiful landscape there. Why wouldn't you be out there taking photos, pushing that on social media, and drawing on the emotional heartstrings of the local people that kind of say, I know that place. I've been there. I walk there. I eat there. I drink there. I dance there. You are going to get that recognition. I mean, just by going and attending local cafes, local restaurants. I mean, maybe not what with COVID is on, but when you can do it, be out there, be visible.
Lifestyle.
But they're not doing it, Dennis. They're just not.
No, I know. But, they should be, as you know, as the three of us know, you don't just put a photo on Instagram and show the people that you're being present within your local community, but you tag that business that you're at, so that business owner knows that you are promoting their business as well. You then become top of mind for them and for their followers, etc. Do a 15-second video there as well. Add it to your stories and show that consistency of you being a community leader and becoming the top of mind. So Instagram, I was really surprised that there was hardly anyone that was even touching it. And if we talk about Facebook, nobody has even got their tags and opening hours completed on the Facebook pages. They're not even saying that they're a real estate office. You know, and just the opening hours makes the biggest
I think,
difference.
Michael, you mentioned the word backyarder. You saw a lot more what we call backyarders there. What is a backyarder?
Yeah, a lot of mum and dad operations, those that wanting to make a difference to the world, but in a micro capacity, I guess. They have friends and family with a few doors, and they will manage the doors on their behalf, and then they will take on other properties just through natural process there. No real structure in place. If things were to go wrong, they would be open to, I guess, legal avenues there, as opposed to some of the people there, they're actually taking the next step, the next level, putting in the processes, manuals, workflows, having staff, having the full procedure there of, you know, finding a tenant, finding a property, putting them in, leases, managing the property throughout the year. There is that divide. Unlike, you know, Australia, for example, New Zealand or Australia, where it's more regulated. You look at countries like America, where there are a lot of mum and dad operations there that shouldn't actually be doing property management. Right, like the property should be given to a professional working full time on it, and it's not just a secondary occupation there. I guess that's also kind of a little bit more fearful going through COVID, where people are losing their jobs. More smaller operators going to try and pick up in these areas where they don't need to be licensed, regulated, and even worse, are they going to take back properties from the managing agents that are looking after the properties now to try and save a few dollars? How is that going to look in the marketplace? And if you are a local agent in this area, be mindful of this and use it to your advantage. Have your professional standards and morals and values plastered on your website, on your socials, everywhere. Let people know why they should be doing business with you. And again, going back to what I said earlier, your points of difference, make sure if it's a family-run business, explain the qualifications of the family, okay? Like, put that wedge in there. If you're using technology, explain how it's going to benefit that prospective owner. And, you know, rather than saying we have a 24/7 portal access, what does that mean for the owner? How is that going to benefit them? Can they see their statements? You know, when are they going to get their rent paid? Be clearer on your points of difference. It's easy. We could go on for hours on this, Darren, but we're not. It's a podcast. It's short.
So let's start to wrap this up a bit. Now, we delivered the report to our client. What was some of the usefulness that our client got out of it? Perhaps do you remember why he wanted to get the report done in the first place?
Yeah, I think it was like they ran their own operation, and I got to say, Darren, like, they're very good. Like we really
very well.
appreciated them. They are good. We loved their enthusiasm, their service levels. I even think they were surprised like where they sat in there. They chose competitors that they weren't too familiar with, and I guess they wanted to know where they were sitting in the marketplace. And
So you secret shopped them without telling them, is that right?
Yeah, we did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well done.
We added them to the list, and their confidence, their self-worth as agents. Actually, you could see the smile on the client's face. That their confidence was growing as we were going through the report. And you know what? That actually brings joy to us as well. Yes, we can nitpick at some of the things, but the idea is we're pointing out these areas so it can showcase the things that people have got to do to improve. And this particular client, you know, that their confidence, it went up. It was really good to see.
Yeah. Once they knew the truth about where they sit in the market and the truth of perhaps of their competitors. I think everyone's got a perception of the strength of their competitors, but when a strategic market report, a secret shopper report, we go in, we can reveal and expose all sorts of things that they weren't even aware of. That just elevates the client's confidence to really dominate and lead, which is what they want to do.
Well, we're doing a comparable market analysis of the real estate offices where they're sitting in it, like a BDM should be doing for an owner with the vacant properties or the houses for sale. We're doing it for the real estate office, and and it really opens up some eyes, and it really, you know, and sometimes these reports, they certainly highlight that, you know, you are lacking in a particular area. Then they know what to put in place to improve, which is great. I mean, it's all about bettering the industry, and that's what we like about it.
So, I mean, these reports are like, they're 120, 130 plus pages long, incredibly comprehensive, some amazing detailed information. Well done, Michael, to you and your team putting this together. So let's wrap it up. Of course, if you are interested in getting a report done on your marketplace, just email or just go to secretshopperfiles.com. That's secretshopperfiles.com, and we'll be in touch with you and give you a quote. And also we can have a chat about your needs in your marketplace. So great podcast, guys. Well done on one of our favorite places, Phoenix, and such a beautiful place. And again, to all the people in Phoenix, thank you so much for your hospitality. We look forward to getting back there again. So thanks, lads.
Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone, you can't cook an egg without cracking that shell to start. So just get out there and contact us so we can help you as well.
We did find some places in Phoenix with excellent bacon, though. Good bacon and eggs. A few little diners there.
Yep. All righty. Thanks, guys.
Take care.